Hey now, hey, don't get me started. I've been thrifting since about the age of 7, so almost 3 decades, and it's so much fun. I love treasure hunting. My favorite place to go is Goodwill, hands down, and the bins. My name is Thrift because I got thrifting from my grandmother. Her name is Beatrice Tryon. And I'm doing this to further her legacy. She passed away in 2009, so that is why it's so near and dear to my heart.
That's a very great story.
Johnny.
Hello everyone, my name is Johnny Francisco. My closet is Threadheadz. I've been thrifting not as long, probably about 3.5 years. Got started because I took a job that was a little bit of a pay cut, needed to supplement some income. Been on Poshmark from that whole time, I'm really only on Poshmark. My wife and my friend Abby, they introduced me to Poshmark, and yeah, it's been a good journey. My favorite places to thrift, I do like the bins as well. It can be a little aggressive, but makes it a little challenging, a little competitive. And I like getting out and finding little honey holes, little thrift stores locally.
Hi, I'm Denali, and my closet name is Elducho. I'm gonna spell it because it's weird. It's E-L-D-U-C-H, in case you're like, what'd she say? I have been a, reseller since I was in 7th grade, but I went full-time a couple years ago, and I've been selling on Poshmark for about a year and a half now. I only started selling because I wanted friends, and I went to a Posh and Sip, and I thought, you can't go to a Posh and Sip if you're not selling anything, so. But I love Poshmark, I love the community. I have met so many great friends from around the world, but then a lot of them from Seattle as well, where I'm from, so. Yeah, and I love shopping at the bins. The bins is kind of my spot. You know, I get my daily workout when I'm there, and I walk out with 25-cent clothing, so you can't beat that.
It's pretty. We don't have bins in Canada, and it's like the saddest thing. We do. In Vancouver? Where? I'm gonna find you out. Amazing. All right, so for today's session, obviously it looks a little bit different than some of the ones you went to yesterday. So we really want today to be super interactive. If you guys have questions along the way, each one of these amazing postures is gonna have the spotlight, basically taking you through a day in the life of how they would sift through a thrift rack or a Goodwill bin. So for today's session, if by the end you're like, I didn't get an answer to my question, you can still ask them at the end. So key takeaways for today, these guys are going to be talking about different brands that will sell on Poshmark. So what to look for, what kinds of brands, key condition factors to look for. So what is the condition of the item? Will it sell? What's worth it? Knowing what price point to buy at. So you might find an item that's a great brand, but it might be a bit overpriced for being at a Goodwill or a Value Village. So when is it worth it to actually take the plunge and make the purchase? Strategies for getting through the store. You walk in, if you are not a thrifter, it's a little overwhelming to walk into a thrift store. Where do you start? How do you navigate your way through the store? So these guys are gonna kind of teach you guys how to do that. Editing your selections. I know for myself, I have a mountain of clothing in my cart by the end of the time I'm at a thrift store. So how do you actually sift through what you've selected and make your final purchases? And then last but not least, relationship building with employees. I'm sure a lot of you have tips and tricks for that as well, but it definitely is key, especially if you are frequenting a lot of the same thrift stores. And yeah, we basically just want to really drive home the importance of thrifting for Poshmark. Once you sell clothes from your own closet, where do you go from there? Thrift stores are an amazing next step to continue growing your closet. Also being environmentally friendly, fun. I know I like to do it by myself, but it also is obviously great to do it with your PFS as well. So I'm making those in Canada. So yeah, without further ado, we're gonna have Johnny kick things off. And he's basically gonna take you guys through what he's gonna do in a thrift store.
Alright, so let's start makeshift thrift store. So for me, when I walk in, one of the first things that I do is I go to the sections that I like the most. So for me, that's sneakers, shoes, jackets. And so one of the first things that I'll do is I will be very familiar with the labels, so I'll just kind of go through them pretty quickly. You kind of know, especially if you have other resellers in your area, when you hear this. You know what they're doing, right? Can help you expedite these different racks. Go back racks, or where people go and try things on and then they don't like them. Obviously they picked that out because they liked it. They would have bought it, but maybe it didn't fit them properly, so that's a pretty good place to source right from the get-go. So for me, this is a little bit challenging. So for me, when I'm looking at, let's say for example, like a men's polo. That's not a men's polo. Well, we're gonna pretend that this is a men's polo. So for me, one of the things that I'll look at, obviously, is the brand, the condition of it. For me, this is gonna be one of the places that I look the most, because with men's polos, you'll look at it, it looks good, you'll get home, and this will be snagged, and that'll cause a case for sure. Some of the other things that I'll look at are gonna be the condition, obviously. So for me, I sell a lot of vintage, so if something has a little wear and tear, like for example, the shirt I'm wearing, has a little something on it, that'll still sell for me, but obviously something could be too thrashed. And the biggest thing is kind of checking comps, seeing what things have sold for and the conditions. That's gonna help you kind of price point where you're at, and then also the condition of what it will sell for. A lot of modern clothes, that's not gonna have the same, you're gonna want it to be in a little bit better condition, obviously, because it is something that's newer, it's something that's more modern at the time. So, the bins, we're gonna pretend that this is the Goodwill bin here. Who's been to the bins? Show of hands. Whose bins are a little aggressive? Okay, so, obviously they have a set of rules where they'll put the carts out. You can't touch anything until they say go. They gotta lock the wheels and make sure nobody's, there's cheaters there for sure. But so one of the things that I'll look at, right, as the bins come in, just obviously what's on the top layer. If there's something that you love, then you're probably gonna stand next to that one, try and throw little elbows and go for your pieces. But kind of like Lizzie said with your cart, right, with the bins specifically, you're pretty much gonna grab what you have or what you can see and sift through it later. So, if the cart looks, like it's mounting over, that's pretty normal, pretty standard. So, I'll grab these and I'll put them back. But I mean, you get the point. Everybody's going to be digging and grabbing, and so for me, it's really like what's going to be at the top. Something might catch your eye. It might be a label, so that's why it's important to get familiar with the labels. And obviously, whatever your little niche is. Again, for me, it's vintage, so I'm always looking at labels and I'm looking at the sleeves. So single stitch, double stitch. Anybody familiar? Okay, so for vintage clothing, that's going to be one of the ways to authenticate if it's true vintage, is going to be the sleeves. So in the 80s, early 90s, and before, they're going to be single stitched. Mid 90s and after, it's going to be double stitched, a little bit more stronger. So that's going to be one thing, as well as the label. And then for some of the other shirts, they'll print the date as well. So that's 3 different ways you can kind of authenticate vintage specifically.
Take notes of that.
Yeah, so I think that'll be a wrap for me. I don't know. Thank you.
Do you have any questions for Johnny's style of thrifting?
What brand do you use? What's your brand?
I'm sorry?
What's your brand?
What brands do I go for? So for vintage, it depends. So it could be like Champion, Nike, any of the high-end brands, but something that's true vintage, something that has a date on it. Some of the other things that I sell, like Ralph Lauren, it's going to be a little bit more modern. Anthropology is a volume piece. So those are the 3 that I would look for the most, I would say. Yes, sir, in the back. Oh no, this gentleman here, the Houston Exchange.
Do you only sell men's, or do you try to switch in and pick up anything that you make money on, or is there anything in particular?
So when I originally started out, I sold everything, men's, women's. It didn't matter. Whatever I thought would sell, The last year, I would say I've probably been focusing more on vintage, and then of course, obviously that can go either way. So, I mean, hey, if there's some.
Question, what would you advise people? Would you say just jump in head first, go, I'm going to try everything, or would you say stick to a niche market and then branch out from there?
For somebody that's new, I would say, because sometimes people can get a little impatient if they're not making sales. So if you're looking for items and you feel strongly that it would sell, whether it's men or women, I would say just kind of give it both a shot, and then as you evolve, you'll find your niche and something that you're a little bit more passionate about, or something that you have more interest in. So, good question.
Do you find that when you have vintage stuff, because it's more niche, it sits in your closet for longer, or have some pieces I think are really fantastic and they're just sitting? Sitting.
Absolutely. So it kind of goes with, you know, depends on how quickly you're wanting. So if you have a price point that you want a piece to sell for, then it could sit for a little bit longer. And because, right, it is a niche market, not everybody's going to be a buyer for that. Now, in the 80s and 90s right now, I feel like is pretty popular, right? Our generation are becoming adults that have disposable income, so they're buying a little piece of nostalgia, plus it's a little bit becoming a little bit more mainstream. But yes, it can sit a little bit longer. That's why it's important to diversify, I think.
There's a buyer for everything though. Someone will buy it. They'll come across it and be like, yes, finally. Awesome. All right, let's move on to our next posture. Thank you, Johnny.
All right, hi. I wrote down actually, I'll get up and talk about the racks a little bit, but I actually just wanted to talk about my advice for shopping at the bins, because I know it can be overwhelming for a lot of people. I know most everyone seemed like they raised their hand when we said, have you ever shopped at the bins? Now, I think it would be a different number of people who would continue to raise their hand and say they go there all the time to source. I do think it's important to experience them, to find out if it is a place for you, and there is, I don't want to say a right or wrong way to do it, but there's ways to make it better for you that you might not be in tune with, especially if you go alone and you don't have a friend there with you. So that's what I'm going to talk about. So a lot of times when I'll talk about the bins, you know, like on Instagram or something, people will say, what are the bins? I mean, it's literally a big blue bin. That's why people call it the bins. It's just slang. But it's called the Goodwill Outlet. Some places it's called Goodwill Outlet World, and some places it's the clearance center. So it's essentially pay by the pound. It varies state by state, sometimes city by city. For me, it's about 89 cents a pound if I buy 100 pounds, but that's the cheapest rate. You can team up with other people to achieve that 100 pounds, so that's why it can be nice to go with friends for a variety of different reasons, because your cart, if you take 4 friends and you each have 25 pounds each, assuming they pay you back, it could be a smart thing to do. When you walk in, some locations will have a list posted of what the rotations are going to be for the day. Not everyone has that, just us spoiled people. So it's good to look at that, because you might not want to spend a whole day there if it's just going to be wares or linens. If you're a clothing reseller or a shoe reseller, that's not going to be beneficial to you. If there is no schedule on the wall, talk to the employees in general, talk to the employees, but talk to the employees and find out what's going to be pushed out today. You know, they will usually tell you, it's not a secret, and generally you can peep in the back and see what carts are coming anyways, so that can be helpful. Making friends with employees can be useful as well, because, you know, they'll give you little inside tips. You know, maybe the manager knows the best days of the month. If you think there's not a best day of the month to shop with the bins, well, there is. Know the difference between what sort of donations are coming out that day. There is, I've learned this from all of my good Seattle friends who are in back, but there's what's called salvage and there's what's called raw. So salvage is going to be items that did not sell in the store, and they'll still have tags on it, and you'll notice that in the bins. And then there's going to be items in the bins that have no tags on it, and that's going to be called raw donations. And raw donations were never processed in the store. And you want to be there on the raw day, because that's literally, bins will come out with people's dry cleaner hangers still on them. And so it's something that came out of their closet, and it's usually their nicest pieces. I mean, few weeks ago I was, shopping the bins, and they rolled out a whole cart of raw, and just sitting in front of me, I saw that Santana knit, and I said, oh my goodness, there was 6 St. John's just like stacked on each other. So those are the days you want to be aware of. And maybe the day is going to be split. Maybe it's salvage in the morning and it's raw in the afternoon. Maybe it's going to be mixed. Maybe it's going to be all raw. So, and you're going to want to stay for those days as long as you can.
How many days a week do you go to the bins?
Not as often as I'd like. It depends on how fast I process it, because it's really easy to get caught up in just going to the bins. It's fun, right? Sourcing is more fun than listing, let's be honest. But I've been working on it, so I'm trying to keep up with my friend Hillary, and she processes everything really quickly, so I try and go 2 to 3 days a week, so yeah. Okay, also about the bins, it's a no-frills warehouse space. It's not cute in there. Like, don't go in there with any expectations. Some of ours are better than others. I mean, I've heard of places that have, drip buckets all around the place. It can not be the fun. In Seattle, ours is across from a methadone clinic, so, we get a variety of people there. But the one that's closer to my house, my friend Steven calls it business class. So, it really just varies. But you're gonna find textiles, which is going to be clothing, linens, rugs, shoes, accessories, kitchen items, sporting goods, couches, baby strollers, everything you want there, and on any given day, and you're not promised anything. Look on the wall, that's where prices are listed. Some locations, like I said, are cheaper by the pound, but I've also thrifted in Los Angeles. What's up, Sellquickshipquick? I've also gone to Denver. What's up, Street Savvy? And it's just a flat price, so you might just be paying $1.69 a pound, no matter you can get 1 pound or 100. Every day is different. The more often you come, the higher the chances are that you're going to be finding good stuff. Again, my friend Savannah, people think that she finds amazing stuff, but that's because she spends about 8 to 12 hours at the bins. She has breakfast, lunch, and dinner there. So, yeah. So the longer you're there, you're going to be finding good things. And it's, it's a dirty job. Wear some yoga pants, like you weren't wearing them already. And then, be prepared for anything. You may not leave with anything that day, which can be a really big bummer, especially if you're driving far from, a location that's not close to your home. Like Johnny said, there are yellow lines everywhere. There are some unspoken and spoken rules at the bins. At some locations, you do not cross the line until they say go. Don't take in other people's carts, even if you're like, I was just looking because I thought it was cute. People snap real quick at you. There are aggressive shoppers. If you have personal space issues, you will quickly find out the bins might not be the place for you as well. You can put, some people put a blanket over their cart to hide your goods. I know that sounds really weird, but it is pretty common. People put a sheet over their cart, and that helps you, because you don't want Burberry sitting on top. Everyone's gonna want that. It will get snapped really quick. Yeah, you're gonna want to check comps on your items before you leave. The lighting in most of these locations, it is warehouse settings. Lighting is extremely poor, so stains are gonna be really hard to see. And just because it's cute doesn't mean it will sell. So check comps on items before you walk out the door. Don't be afraid to trade items with other people who are there. So I don't necessarily sell vintage. I appreciate it. So if Johnny and I shopped at the same place, I would pick up single stitch t-shirts and I would probably trade them with him. He would probably, if his wife approved, would give me some Lululemon. It would work out nice. Right. But don't be afraid to maybe transact as well. People do bring cash, so you can. There are transactions that have exist. I won't go into it further, but you can. It is a really friendly place. For a place that's really aggressive, there is a community that exists there. There are people who are there 5 to 7 days a week. It's regulars. I mean, we are just as much employees there as the employees that work there. So feel free to make friends.
Mood lighting. Ooh.
Oh, turn the lights on. Okay.
Is somebody lean on it?
Oh, we're having a light show. This is warehouse lighting.
everyone try it out. It's not as scary as you think. It's just something to be experienced. So.
Awesome. Those are crazy good tips. I hope a lot of you took notes on that. Does anyone have any questions? We're clapping. We have a question over there.
Well, I was just gonna, I'm a Seattle girl too, so.
Yes, we know.
When she mentioned Seattle, we do need to bring up that that's where the famous video was shot, so.
Perfect.
What's his face, the record guy?
Oh, Macklemore.
El
Little
Macklemore,
picture.
yeah, that's where it was shot.
Oh,
Yeah.
Vintage sneakers, what about condition?
Vintage sneakers. Anybody want to speak to that?
So vintage sneakers, I mean, the wear on them. So for example, these are Jordan 1s, right? 1985, 1984 is where they really came out. 1985 where they really got hot. I mean, there's vintage sneakers that are busted up, worn, and they'll sell for a few thousand to upwards of 15,000 depending on the condition. So vintage sneakers can definitely be a
Oh, wow.
Someone's doing a magic trick on us.
yeah, it can definitely be a good little niche area.
Can you go online and figure out what with the sneakers?
Absolutely. I mean, I think knowledge is really going to be key for any area. Just kind of knowing comps and labels to kind of familiarize yourself as far as when you're looking for them. And then as far as like the price range, absolutely. Like StockX is not going to be a website you can really do vintage shoes with and understand the comps on those because they're really dead stock only. But there are a couple other ones as well, and I'd be happy to share those with you after. If that's an area that you're looking to explore, come talk to me afterwards.
All right. Oh, we got a question in sequence.
I was just going to say, I know you mentioned to go to the bins often and kind of stay as long as you can, but in your experience, have you found that there is a certain day of week or a certain time of day that you find is like your sweet spot to get there? Do you think you should get there at the first hour of the day? Or?
Well, if you ask my friend Ty, she'll say you have to be there 6 hours before opening. But that's because she's doing her aerobics in the parking lot beforehand. You know, it depends because even though rotations don't usually start at opening, you know, it's usually the leftover bins from the night before. However, there's throwbacks, which, you know, we're not all looking for the same stuff, and you will find amazing items at opening still. Usually rotations begin after an hour. I'm lazy, so sometimes I'll just roll up whenever in the middle of the day, and I pay for it because I usually can't find a parking spot. Or a cart for that matter, depending on your location. Yeah, carts are pretty sacred. So yes, for that reason, it can pay to be there at opening. In terms of days of the week or times of the month, it's so specific to your location, and I would ask because there are times when certain just groups of people, perhaps like vintage resellers, perhaps they participate in markets. So what days are they not there? Yeah, so that can be a good time to go.
Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna move on to Lana next, and she's gonna take us through these racks over here.
Okay, now before
Either seated or standing.
No, I'm gonna stand up. But I just want to give some tips. Like, if you guys watch my Instagram stories, I kind of go to Goodwill and I show you what I'm finding. A lot of people ask, what's the best Goodwill to go to? And which one do you go to? Where's that? And I just tell them all of the Goodwills is my favorite. That's my favorite place to shop is Goodwill. There's treasure in every single Goodwill. I don't care if you see stuff with dog hair and stain. Like, just keep digging. Like, just have fun. What is for you is for you. When I'm in there, people don't even know I'm a reseller. I don't have a bunch of stuff in my cart, even on Dollar Day, because I'm looking and I'm having fun and I'm seeing, okay, this worked for me, this is my style. And that's what I want to leave with you guys. What's for you is for you. You know what I mean? And so, it's just have fun, you know? Have fun. All right, let's go with this.
Look at these shoes though.
Yeah, shoes.
Amazing.
So when I go to Goodwill, I make sure I, get something to eat. I have my little water, snacks, and stuff like that. I hate to have to, I go to the restroom because once outside. Yeah, my cart, you know, people be stealing and stuff, so I just make sure I do all that before I get into it. And I'm in the zone. Like, I don't see anybody when I'm in there. I'm straight up just looking at the clothes, the shoes. That's where I go first. When I go into Goodwill, I go look at shoes because I'm a shoe person. And they, you know, you get a good return on your investment. So say I find these shoes, Kohan, and then also brand. I don't care about brand. I look at the style, and then if it's a good brand after that, okay, I can rock with it. So these are Kohan. These are cute. I would pick these up because I like the print. It's a cute little style. Now it has wear on the bottom. That's okay. I'm gonna take a picture just like this. I'm not cleaning these up. So, you know, low on me anyway. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so these are really cute. And then also, these are a 6.5. I don't know about you guys, but smaller sizes, I don't really like to pick them up because they sit for a while and then you get less than what you really could. So that's a tip. You know, I don't know if you guys find that, you know, to be difficult to sell smaller sizes. So I may pick these up. Oh no, they're $8.99? No. Out here in Arizona, Thursdays they have dollar days. And so I suggest, you know, I don't know what state you came from, but seeing what are the deals? What do your Goodwill or your thrift store offer? You know, is there a 20% off coupon, dollar days, bids? Because you want to keep your cost of goods very low. Because they're taking the 20% when you make the sale. You know, you may send out offers. You want to get more bang for your buck. You're out there sourcing for hours. Don't just pick up any old thing. So, oh, home goods. Oh yeah. Oh, this is nice. Oh yeah, this is nice. So if this is at the bid, oh, that's cute. I would pick something like this up because it's really cute. Okay. So at the bins, a lot of people, I don't know what they're looking for. They're just like throwing stuff and throwing stuff and throwing stuff. And so I like to look, like when they're done doing all that, then that's when I like to go look. Because like I said before, what's for you is for you. We don't know what these people are looking for. So let's see here. This is cute. So first condition, I'm looking under the arms. I smell everything. Isn't that right, Elizabeth? She's like, why
I do not.
smelling that? I smell, yes, I do. Because it can be musty, and that can be a hard smell to get out. So you need to.
She's going there.
She's really good at it.
What you want to do, seriously, what you want to do, come on, you want to make sure there's no stains. Seriously. I don't care if it's new with tags. I've gotten some stuff that's questionable with new with tags, so you want to look there in the crotch. You want to see if there's any peeling, any stains. You want to make sure, especially here, that it's not any holes right here. Yeah, so you're just looking for condition. Now, I do pick up things that may have like a hole, like Johnny was saying. Like I had a vintage shirt that I picked up. It was like Kermit the Frog, and I just thought it was funny to get. It was like 99 cents. I wound up selling it for $65. And it had a hole, it had holes in it. It was vintage. So go with your gut on things. You're not gonna always have service in Goodwill. You're not gonna always look up comps and, oh, this is gonna work for me. Go with your gut. You know what I mean? Go with that. It never will steer you wrong. So we're digging in the bin. I don't like to pick up tops. I don't know. We'll pick up tops. Hats off to you. I hate sourcing tops. For tops, I'll just say for my closet, I really don't, because people are paying like almost $7 for shipping. So just make sure what you pick up is worth that. You know what I mean? I don't care what brand it is. Make sure what you pick up is worth the shipping, okay? And when you pick up, make sure you really love it. How many times you looked at something and you go, oh, that's cute. I can make it work. I can flip that. And then you don't really care about it. And then you don't want to list it. You don't want to share it. And it's just sitting there. You know what I mean? So I have a lot of that kind of stuff. You want to make sure what you're getting, you would wear it. You love it and you have a passion about it. So anyway, let's go through these. This I want. This is something I would, oh, I got the tags on it. Yeah, this is something I would pick up because I just like it, and that's the thing. I just go off of style. I don't even look at the brand really. So I would pick that up. Like I said, I don't like shirts. Oh, this is cute. What size is? Now this is pretty. It has the tag on it. $10.97.
Smell it.
I make sure when it has a zipper, because down here it can have like a hole right here. I don't know if you've seen that before. So I just inspect it. Oh, it looks good. Now, this is like a Nordstrom brand. If it was really $10.99 at Goodwill, I'm not buying it. That's too much. But that's really cute.
All right, we gotta wrap things up. I'm so sorry,
Any
everybody.
questions? Any questions?
Any questions for Ilana? Yes.
Do you find the Goodwill, most of the good stuff's going to auctions now, though?
I don't even look at that. I think it is, but it's higher price. But no.
And then one more question in the back with the hat.
Style, always style. Yeah. Look at my stories. I always go to the thrift store and I just take you along with me. Thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much. A little inside scoop, if you come back here after the last session, it's gonna be a bit of a free-for-all to take home any of the stuff on the rack.
Not the bag. The bag.
Not the bag, she's taking that. Thank you guys, enjoy the day. When you come back.